Okay. Either nobody's early or, well, we'll see. Oh no, we do have people. Hello, good morning, everyone. We're just going to wait a few minutes for people to join, and then we'll get started with all the presentations. So, start sharing. Again, welcome everyone who's already joined. We're just going to wait, I think, 2 more minutes for people to join, as I still see people trickling in. So then we'll get started with the presentations. All right, so we're going to get started. Welcome everyone to the Netherlands Tableau user group. Most of you probably here in the Netherlands, but wherever you are in the world, if you join us from outside the Netherlands, welcome. So today we have two presentations that we're going to have for you today. First of all, we have Sunita Kumar from Vis for Social Good, a kind of charity who helps volunteer data visualization for social change. And after that, we have a presentation from Sonjia Kuijpers, who is going to talk about inspiration for data visualization and exploration in your data. So there's not much else for me to announce to you. So first, I'm going to start by handing this over to Sunita to talk to us about Vis for Social Good. So Sunita, you can share your screen.
All right, 1 second.
Oh, sorry, maybe just a quick note. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can please put them in the Q&A so we can batch them all for Sunita to answer at the end of the presentation. Thanks.
Yes. All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Sunita Kumar, and I'm very happy to be here today and have the honor of presenting a project that's very near and dear to my heart to you, which is Vis for Social Good. Vis for Social Good is an initiative that aims to foster collaboration between nonprofits and the DataVis community, but more on that in a bit. This is only my second Tableau user group in the Netherlands, as I've only just somewhat recently moved here, but I'm excited to hopefully one day meet you all in person, actually go out for drinks afterwards, after one of these events. I used to be involved in user group back in New York and New Jersey, so I know the after event drinks are always a great time, and looking forward to doing that eventually with all of you. Anyways, why I'm here today, I'll shortly introduce myself, and then I talk a lot about Vis for Social Good, who we are, what it is, what kind of impact Vis for Social Good creates, and how the whole process works. I'll end with highlighting one of the projects we had recently, and of course, how all of you can also get involved in being part of this amazing initiative. So first things first, who am I? So what better way to present who I am than by putting together some data visualizations, since everyone loves a good pie chart. And yes, I'm well aware that pie charts should never have more than 2 categories, but I feel like breaking rules here. This is a very simple chart of where I'm from. Like it says, I'm half Indian, quarter Czech, quarter German, actually born and raised in Germany. But after 20 years of living in Germany, I decided to cross the Atlantic and live in the US for 10 years. After a year on the West Coast, I decided to start my life in New York, New Jersey, where I studied for my bachelor's. And that is also where I learned about data and data visualizations and Tableau for the first time when I was interning for an energy company in New Jersey at PSEMG. That's where I was also introduced to the Tableau community and was lucky enough to go to Vegas for the Tableau conference back in 2015, back in the good old days when conferences were a thing. I ended up spending 6 years in the business performance and improvement group at PSEMG with roles focused on improving operational performance and also doing lots of benchmarking and conducting industry-wide surveys to get insights to best practices. During my time there, I learned a lot about the energy transition and the environmental impacts of the industries, and realized that working in that part of the energy industry was still kind of slow moving towards renewables. And I decided that was not quite my cup of tea. So decided to study sustainability, which brought me to the Netherlands, where I did my master's in global business and sustainability in Rotterdam. So I'm also an avid hiker, so I had some fun with visualizing some of my hikes in Peru and the peaks I've climbed over the years as part of my job application process post-masters, which is where I ended up landing my dream job at Patagonia as a data and brand analyst, for anyone who doesn't know Patagonia, we are an apparel slash sports slash activist company. Our mission is that we are in the business to save our home planet. So we are actively seeking ways to combat climate change, give what we can to make sure climate justice and therefore social justice will become a reality. Anyways, while I absolutely love talking about Patagonia, that is obviously not why I'm here today. I'm here to present on This for Social Good. So before I go into more detail about what we do at This for Social Good, I would like to introduce who we are, because I think that's a really important part in understanding what drives us and why we think the cause is so important. So let me introduce you to Chloe, one of the most passionate and enthusiastic people and happy people I know. She has this amazing energy that just you feel drawn towards and always have a good time with her. After spending some time at Twitter and Google, she decided to use her data visualization skills to really make a difference, which is why she founded This for Social Good in 2016 to create an impact through data visualizations. When I spoke with her, she said something that I think is really important, that every person can use their strengths to do something good. Not everyone might be born an activist that goes out in the streets to protest or can or wants to do actual hands-on work on the ground, but we all have some skills that we can use for good and make a difference with. So what we have in common in this Tableau community is that we all love data, and we've seen the impact of data visualization in one way or another. And I think many of us feel that drive to do even more with it. At least that's how I felt when I first learned about This for Social Good. I actually found out about it through my professor in one of my courses during my master's. We were using Tableau to visualize social problems, which was exactly what I wanted to do. And my professor introduced me to This for Social Good, which is how I met the amazing Amanda Patiste. If you are active in the Tableau and data community, you might know her. So after connecting with her over the summer and learning more about This for Social Good, we decided to co-lead the Amsterdam chapter together. In general, This for Social Good is organized into local chapters all around the world, with chapter leads in different countries and regions. In the India region, we currently have chapters in Amsterdam, Berlin, Cairo, Dublin, London, and Luxembourg, and are always looking to establish more to grow our volunteer work network even more. As chapter leaders, we're mainly focused on organizing the volunteer network that is really at the heart of This for Social Good. Without the work and the dedication, none of the nonprofits we work with would be getting any of the support and help they're getting now. And our volunteers are all individuals who simply want to do something good with the skills they have, and that want to help nonprofits and mission-driven organizations. So just like our chapters that are all over the world, our volunteers come from all over the place, from 30 different countries, and we're always growing. So what exactly is This for Social Good? We are an initiative that fosters collaboration between the Dataviz community and nonprofit organizations. These organizations often don't have the resources and know-how of what data visualization is and how it can help them run their operations in a more effective way to create even greater impact. They're typically focused on their day-to-day activities to actually make a difference, that it doesn't leave much room for looking at how data analysis can help them become an even better organization. So what we do is help empower those nonprofits through storytelling with their data. We help them promote social good and understand their data through beautiful and informative data visualizations that they otherwise would not have been able to realize. This way, we are also hoping to spread the mission of these nonprofits to an even wider audience and support them in any way and type of decision making. Over the past 4 years, our volunteers have worked on 29 different projects with over 500 different contributions. Here are just a few of the organizations and projects we have worked on over the past few years. So we had multiple projects with different UN organizations. And I believe there were 2 projects now with UNICEF. One of the projects was looking to better visualize the data around the issue of child refugees, to understand where in the world they are located and how they can get proper aid. Another organization we have worked with is Kiron, also an organization that works on the issue of refugees. They work on providing access to quality education for refugees and underserved communities. This was a more locally focused project looking at the situation of refugees in Germany in particular. We also have worked with Justice and Peace, which is a Netherlands-based organization who makes sure human rights defenders all over the world are provided with shelter, training, network opportunities, and capacity building. And another one we worked with was World Resources Institute, which is a global research organization looking for help in visualizing climate change data in the preparation for COP23. So these are obviously just a few of the organizations we have worked with, but feel free to check out our website to see what other organizations we have partnered with, because there are many more. So what impact does this social good actually create? All the organizations we have partnered with have always expressed their deep gratitude for getting help and support, and have always found the visualizations extremely helpful in raising awareness for their cause. Data visualizations created by our volunteers have actually been presented multiple times at the United Nations, such as at the UN General Assembly, the United Nations Climate Change Conference, and the United Nations Data Innovation Conference. Risk for Social Good was also awarded the silver medal at the Information is Beautiful Awards in 2017, where it was judged by a panel of experts and with input from over 300,000 people. So how does it all work to actually make sure these nonprofits are getting the support they need from this amazing database community? Step 1, obviously, is to identify a project and see which organizations we can help out. This collaboration can come through different avenues. Some of the nonprofits have approached us as they heard about what we do and seek us out specifically with a project in mind already. Sometimes this also comes from connections that some of our volunteers have with nonprofits and know that they can use our support with their data. We do work with nonprofits all across the board, so there's no specifications on their size, the scope, or if they're local or globally active, or what causes they support. Every project is evaluated on a case-by-case basis, and we try to help as many organizations as possible. So we then work on figuring out which data they need help with and what the data sets look like. And we also figure out what they are trying to get out of the project, what the goal is of the data visualizations and how they want to use it. And then we establish a new project. In the future, we might also be looking into supporting organizations in their actual data maintenance and data processing capabilities. Right now, it's mostly focused on the visualization aspect of it. But as we all know, getting the right data is key to everything. Even you can make pretty visualizations, but having the data that's not right doesn't really help much. So once a project is launched, all volunteers in our network are notified about the launch of the new project and can determine if and how they want to get involved with the project. The data for the project is released on our website, and the community can pick it up from there and create content. A project usually runs for about a month. Once the project is launched, volunteers have access to the data set and can work on visualizing on their own. In pre-corona times, local chapter leads were also hosting hackathons where all the volunteers working on the project could come together and exchange their ideas or just help each other out. Since I've only joined this year myself, I have not had the pleasure of experiencing one of these in-person hackathons, but I'm sure they're a lot of fun. To get together with like-minded people and work on a project together sounds like a great time. If the restrictions for Corona will stick around, I'm sure we'll be hosting a virtual hackathon in the future. Volunteers have every freedom to visualize the data as they see fit. It can be through Tableau, Power BI, whatever other tool they prefer. We even had for one of our last projects, we had a video submission, which was really cool. But yeah, like I said, whatever the volunteers think fits best with the project and the scope of the project can work. Throughout the time the projects run, if any questions come up, we usually communicate through our Slack channel, where we have a channel set up specific to each project where any questions related to the data or the content can be asked, or get any tips and tricks from people who are more avid Tableau users or anything like that. Our volunteers come from all kinds of backgrounds, so you don't have to be an expert in Tableau to become a volunteer. If you just want to learn more about Tableau or get better at it, this is a good way to practice it as well. We also usually have somebody from the nonprofits active in the Slack channel. So if there's specific questions to the project or the data, they can be asked on the Slack channel as well. The volunteers then share their submissions by using hashtag #VisForSocialGood on Twitter. Most of our volunteers do use Tableau because it is so incredibly convenient and easy to share content through Tableau Public. But like I said, other options are just as welcome. I believe that Power BI has something similar, like a similar platform where content can be shared publicly. So any type of submission is welcome. The nonprofits then review the submissions and determine which ones are most useful to them and if and how they can incorporate the visits into their own communications channels. For some of our recent projects, the volunteers also got a chance to present their work to the nonprofits on video calls, where each volunteer got a few minutes to show off their work. Depending how many submissions there are, that might not always be feasible, but maybe the nonprofits can pick a few that they really liked and that are being presented then. All right, so I just talked a whole lot. I figured I would show you an example of a project that we have done recently to get a better idea of what it is all about and what kind of amazing work some of our volunteers can do. Back in August of this year, I think, we did a project with the nonprofit Academics Without Borders. Academics Without Borders was founded in 2007 to help developing nation universities build programs, capacity, and plans they need to educate the next generation of professionals and leaders. Some of their projects take weeks or take years, but since 2009, they've worked on over 125 projects in 32 countries. They've done everything from helping build IT infrastructure to launching new degree programs to even helping found an entire university. Their model is somewhat unique as they don't bring people to a different country to study or bring in experts in during times of crisis, but rather they have a model called Teach the Teacher. So they want to teach somebody locally that can then ensure the universities succeed on their own. They were looking to visualize two things in particular. One was showing the impact value of a donation, and the other one was showing the Teach the Teacher model and how that works and how many people it can reach over time. So here are two submissions that I thought came from our volunteers that I thought were really amazing and show how diverse the submissions can be. Obviously, everyone has kind of their unique own style and own understanding of what is important for the project, but it's always great to see the variety of ideas people come up with. So the first one I wanted to share is Sagars. I hope you guys can see my screen, but I think you do. Shout out if you don't. So this is on Tableau Public. So it was basically a summary of what the Academic Without Borders does, and a summary of all the projects they've done all over the world. Shows you on this beautiful map where they have had projects in the past. I really like this visualization of how the teacher model reaches a lot more clients versus the visiting instructor model. So this was great to see. Another submission that is totally different, but also really cool, was from Noel. He also visualized the teach the teacher model by showing the little notes, which just a very, very different style, but also very unique and very cool. He also showed how much the impact of $1 of a donation can be. And then at all the submissions, usually as a call to action, where people can actually, in this case, propose a project, donate to the nonprofit, volunteer, or some kind of other call for action. So with that said, oops, sorry about that. All right, so with that said, I know you're all at the edge of your seat right now thinking, wow, how can I get involved in this amazing opportunity? So step one is sign up as a volunteer on our website, visforsocialgood.com, and you'll get notified about any upcoming projects. Our current and last project of the year will be over at the end of November, so I won't even mention it for now, but we will have many more projects in the new year, and hopefully we can welcome some of you as our volunteers. Also follow us on Twitter and or LinkedIn. And if you want to join the Slack channel, it is a lot of our communications do go through there, and it's a great place to connect with other volunteers and other people in the DataVis community. If you do know of any nonprofits that need help, reach out to us and we can see if we can launch a new project. You're always looking for more, so please feel free to reach out. If you want to start a new chapter, that would of course also be welcome. I'm not sure where all you guys are calling in from, but the more places we can reach, the more nonprofits we can help, and that is our ultimate goal. And with that, I want to thank you all for listening. It's been an honor to present here today, and I'm opening up for any questions. Feel free to reach out to me afterwards as well. Connect on LinkedIn if you like any more information. Thank you very much.
Hi, Sunita. The data you use for visualizations, is this public as well?
Yeah, we get the information from the nonprofits and then we publish it on our website. So whatever they feel like they want to share, they give to us and it is public, yes.
So people can start logging right now or signing up, okay, and use the data in order to get some.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
if you go to our website and say join a project, I believe, there will be all the previous projects and all the data from the previous project as well.
Okay. Wow, that's great. Thank you.
Awesome. I saw there was also one question from Quinton. First of all, amazing initiative, well presented. Love the examples. Any thoughts on how to expand the Vis for Social Good further? Because in the Netherlands, in his experience, it can be hard to reach the correct public or the crowd you need.
As in like expand the volunteer network?
Yeah,
or
I suppose so. At least that's my interpretation.
This is why I'm here today.
Exactly.
No, we're trying to reach more people in the community, obviously, to get the word out there. I think having these presentations definitely gets people interested and hopefully even more interested to actually join as a volunteer in the future. But I think we will be hosting some virtual hackathon possibly in the new year. Hopefully in person at some point again too. So that would be a great opportunity to meet others and get more people involved as well, I think.
Yeah, well, I saw some excited comments in the chat as well, so I think it
That's
worked.
good. Yes, be excited.
All right, if there's any more questions from the people joining, please put them in the Q&A or in the chat. We can ask them to Sunita. And otherwise, I don't see anything coming up. Right, then I think it's time to switch over to Sonjia, who is going to present to us a little bit about her experience with data visualization and what she's learned along the way. So Sonjia, over to you. I think you'll introduce yourself a lot more, so I'll leave that to you.
Well, thanks for your talk, Sunita. I was already following Visual Social Good on Twitter, but now I'm getting the whole story. I'm sure I'll be joining in a while. So that's great. It's a great initiative. I'm going to share my screen now. Look where. You can see my presentation, I hope.
Yes.
Yes. Come on. Yes. What I like to start with is that when I talk about inspiration and exploration, I go back and forth between the two. I don't have a linear path considering my project processes when it comes to these subjects. And also with exploration, I mean the search for a novel approach to visualize data. Not so much exploring the data itself, although that often is a part of the search as well, of course, because it's about showing interesting insights. So, hi everyone. I'm Sonjia Kuijpers. I'm a freelance information graphics designer working under the name Studio TERP. I design projects for clients, and I also create visualizations out of personal interest. I'm happy to have been invited to give a small talk at this meetup, sharing my story today. I hope I will be able to give you new insights as well as inspiration and motivation to start or continue exploration. So maybe you have seen one or more projects of mine before. These are some of them. What I really like doing is taking a graph a bit further, see how I can bring novelty to it by creating an aesthetic looking visualization. I also have some background information about myself, so where I come from, in the sense of education and career, of course. I went from St. Lucas Advertising here in Bokstel, here in Brabant, to the Design Academy here in Eindhoven. I've been studying man and public space. I took my time studying, and then I worked for about 10 years at a landscaping design company. And I wanted to show you this because it makes a lot of sense to me, making the switch to designing information graphics. The Design Academy was, of course, a good breeding ground for exploration and to get inspired. The assignments we were given at public space were always very analytic. And landscaping design also involves a lot of research, analytics, and communicating your plans at different levels and audiences. Showing the existing situation, what elements are valuable, the flora, the fauna, how infra, water, all these layers, roots and sidelines, work at several scales. So getting into information graphics design was like taking a dip into a nice warm bubble bath for me. It was where I find my passion fit. Another passion of mine, which I like to show, is mushroom photography. I like it for several reasons. First, I get to go out into nature, which is the best way to disconnect and recharge and get away from screens, because otherwise I'm totally hooked on screens all the time. I get to go explore, find species I never saw before, and learn and be wowed. And just look at these structures, these colors and textures. They're just amazing. And zooming in is what I do with a micro lens, and then you discover such brilliant details. I have a thing for the smallest. So what you also see here are slime molds, which are approximately 2 to 5 millimeters high often. And one of the best things, however, that the photographing these subjects, that they are still and a bit easier to photograph than, for instance, birds. So a bit on where I get my inspiration from. My usual go-to is Pinterest. That's where I collect a lot of data viz and data viz related, but also on maps, diagrams, illustrations, colors, and art. What I advise you to do to get inspired, I suggest you go explore. These are some suggestions. Go on Twitter to see what the data viz community is talking about. There are some inspiring media outlets, companies and freelancers that show you the latest projects, and you can keep yourself updated in the new approaches in data viz. Graphic design illustrators on Behance and Instagram, go follow them there, because Behance is a creative portfolio site, so there's lots of creators on there, and they are they create this beautiful stuff, and there's people all over the world sharing their work. Watch talks on data viz and related subjects. There are some great online conferences coming up that will be hosting the top of data viz design. I'll mention a few at the end of my presentation, and otherwise you can do a search on YouTube, plenty on there as well. And this is one of my favorites. Your personal circumstances. Are there personal circumstances that you're struggling with? I have found, and I've seen others use it as well, like frustration is a great motivator to start on a project. Don't avoid the negative emotions, so to speak. If you're sad, mad, or in pain, use that as a fuel. Get things out of your system, if only partially, and reaching out using your skills could be helpful to others as well. Well, nature, always a great subject, of course. Issues and fields of interest. What are you worried about, for instance? And what would you want to tell and show people that you think they, or at least some, should know about? And these together with your personal circumstances can, of course, also be a fuel to participate in the Viz for Social Good. This is a good way to connect to that subject as well. Researchers, talk to them, listen to them. Their enthusiasm about their subject is often inspiring and can be very contagious. And of course, just anything outside your bubble works pretty well to get inspired. So what about exploration? Like I said, this to me is about trying out shapes, learning on the way about what works. What other than the usual graphs can you apply to bring insights across? Let's start with this. The beginning of Makeover Monday kind of occurred simultaneously with my own journey into data viz. And as I already created some self-initiated projects, I found it handy to exercise some without having to come up with subjects myself. And the thing is that I don't use Tableau, so I used what I do know, and that's Adobe Illustrator. And I do that with the help of Excel and raw graphs. And I just experimented in this low profile environment where I could still receive some feedback. And what then happened was really cool because I did these things in Illustrator. You can see them on top, my projects. And as Tableau was limited, some people saw the chance to try recreate my Illustrator designs in Tableau. And so you see the ones I created on top and the ones that were recreated in Tableau underneath. And the left one is by Adam E. McCann and the right one by Andy Kriebel. And they also explain on Tableau how they created these. What I find encouraging to see is that more people are trying out things they're inspired with. And I think you shouldn't limit yourself with how the dogmas and data viz sometimes seem to limit creativity. Also, the tools you use can be limited sometimes, but don't let yourself limit it too much. And you can lend colors, elements, and shapes from other vises or other pictures, and try to recreate if that is helping you in your path to becoming a better viser. These are two more examples of projects of mine, which were recreated in Tableau by Neil Richards. Neil is a highly creative tableauer, and he politely asks if he can use projects as an inspiration, which is of course the correct way to do it. Always credit the original. Neil has also this blog where he shares his exploration in data viz by handling various questions, and I'm telling you he's a must follow. And now, well, this is how I work personally. When I start on a project, I begin with sketches that don't have a lot of detail, and they are very scratchy and messy. And I'm searching for an idea that might fit the data, and I'm exploring several setups and shapes, as you can see. And then I take it to the screen and experiment further with shapes to see if the thing I came up with actually works. Because I do this in Excel often to get a sense of the relationships, the proportions, and if there are any outliers. And sometimes I export it to row graphs. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, so you can look it up. And I experiment in that too. And after that, I export it to Illustrator to work on the actual design. Now, I'm going to switch over to German, well, at least a German project. I want to show you a bit on the process when having to deal with qualitative data instead of quantitative. Die Prügelfuge is a part of the opera of the Meistersinger from Nuremberg by Wagner. And I got asked by the Frankfurter Allgemeiner, which is a German newspaper, to design several vises on the Bayreuther Festspiele, which is the yearly Wagner Opera Festival. So the Prügelfuge is a part about a fight between several characters in the opera. And what I received as information was this description of this part. Now what to do with this? The first thing I did was categorize the text bits. So who hit who, why did they do it, and the lyrics they sang. And as I had to visualize punches, I searched for a way to do that. And although I like how it's done in comics, it didn't fit the overall style of all the other vises together. So I sketched how I thought a punch to look like, a moving element with a weight at the end of it. What I found out thing is, when I started combining more of these shapes, it became a bit of a mess, and I had to rethink this shape. This more sketching, resulting in a more geometric shape, more fitting the all-over styling. And as you can see here, it's the characters which punch, or the Frauen, the women who threw water on the fighting men. So this is what I finally turned it into. It's sort of a storyboard of the fight. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can follow the numbers, and it's the progression of the fight. So who joins in and who punches who. Like you can see, there's the main characters, and then the women start throwing water on the top of the fighting people. And another part of this project was the family tree of Wagner. And I had this idea. I worked on it very, very hard, and I was very convinced of this thing. And I had this idea to order all family members in a linear chronological order. So from top from top to down in time. And but contrary to the Prügelfuge viz, the client didn't like this idea in the end. They wanted a more classical setup, and so I designed this one. This one was the one that was published. So sometimes exploring shapes turn out good, and sometimes it's just too novel or confusing to the client, is what I what I made of this. Going over to my mascara project, because what I already mentioned as inspiration, frustration is a great motivator to start on a project, and I will show you my mascara project. Because this is what I walk into when I need a new mascara, and I just get totally overwhelmed and stressed with this abundance, because which do I choose? So here's what we all do when we find ourselves in these sort of situations, right? You go scraping. I scraped the data of a makeup shop on the web, and I have some requirements for the mascara I personally need. So I needed a waterproof for sensitive eyes, and I just wanted a regular black. And during this process of scraping and looking through the data, I already started thinking on the design and the styling. And one of my favorite database designers always comes to mind, and that is Sonjia Loopy. I think a lot of you have already heard of her, because the way she handles data is very sensitive and detailed. And it's a mix of information design and data art often, which I find very, very inspiring. And I was also thinking of doing the project in black and white, because, well, black mascara. So I took the characteristics of the mascara, like lengthen and adding curl, waterproof, and I designed a shape that unintentionally turned out to look like an eye, because I had these loose elements, and when I put it together, it was looking like an eye. And I didn't aim for it, but, well, it was a fitting symbol, I thought. So with these templates, I created all the 390 black mascaras. You can see them grouped by their blackness. So I had to choose one of the regular ones. And so what I also did, of course, because I like ordering things in a insightful way. I also arranged them by characteristics, and eventually I went to sort them so I could choose the one that would be the one for me to buy. And just to show you some more of my processes, this is the inspiration for my View and Despair project. That's a visualization on suicides in the Netherlands. I'm not going to talk about what's it about, because it's very emotional, and I just want to show the inspiration, exploration part of it. I try to display the people who committed suicide by using metaphorical elements like trees and waves. So here you see the sketches, tryouts on that, and this is a part of the outcome. And this image is a part of my story in depression, which I recommend you watch on a laptop screen, because there's some interactivity involved, like just scrolling. But I also wrote a blog post on the design process as well, and you can find them both on my website. And this is the inspiration I collected for another self-initiated project. And I have always wanted to create a data viz project on a book. The book I chose was The Hotel New Hampshire by John Irving. That's my most favorite writer. And there are, of course, programs that help you digest, count, and order words. But I have a soft spot for manual labor, because it's sort of soothing and a mindfulness practice to me, to do these repetitive tasks. And the idea was to make a series of posters of the 12 chapters in the book. And as you can see in the upper images, I marked and counted everything by hand. And then I sketched elements that depicted the characters, and I did some tryouts on colors and arrangements, like you can see on the right. And the result is a web page on my website, where I introduce the book a bit, and then show each chapter in a slideshow. So while you see 6 right here, there's the slideshow that goes through all the chapters. So that was it already. I hope I did bring you some inspiration to go explore yourself. And now this is not to overrule all the basics of data visualization, of course. It is still about the insights you want to get across. And if a bar chart is the most fitting solution, just use it. Many clients are looking for ways to get their data more attractive to people, but what I also want to bring across is that you have to be aware of just overly decorate, because then the message can get blurry. And my advice is avoid distracting background images. And if you apply icons, be cautious with those. People's interpretation can be quite different from what you meant by it. And if you would want to know more about what I mean by this, you can just contact me also on the projects which I showed. And you are very welcome to connect with me on any of the social media which I'm showing you here. And I just have another page which I told you about already. I penned down some information on this page which I mentioned in my talk, and you can take a screenshot maybe, or I can share that this in the chat as well maybe. And here are some names and web addresses I advise you to look into. Now there's only one thing left. I advise you to engage. So exactly. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Sonja. I think I saw a lot of great comments in the chat already, people being very inspired. So that was that definitely worked for us. Martin, did you see any questions in the Q&A?
Yeah, I did see the question. It's more like a technical question. Thanks for your talk. I see, Sonja, on the mascara project. How did you scrape the data?
Ooh, it was a while ago. There are a lot of scraping tools online, and I guess I just picked one of them. I think I can't think of the one that I did use. You go search for scraping tools online, and definitely you can find one. And I hope their explanation can help you do what you want to do.
Yeah, well, Google is your friend, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I can't give you a direct answer on this.
That's okay. And I see a lot of enthusiastic people reacting about your talk. So you did inspire a lot of people, I see. So that's great news. The thing I have in mind, what kind of visualization project are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm working for a classical car insurance company. So it's very cool because I like classical cars. I did a talk about it, I guess, when I was about 12.
Nice.
I like cars. I like speed. And so they have all this data about selling classical cars and the how the sale is going with the which one are popular and which are not and they asked me to visualize the data on which color of Porsches is sold the most.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a great project to work on.
Okay, and where can we see the results?
Oh, I don't know yet. I think it's a website and it's a publication, and it will be published on the web, I guess, but it's not. Maybe it's going to be published in half December, I think.
So we might need to follow you on any of the social channels to get to see the results.
Yeah, I'm going to share it on there, of course. Yeah.
Great. I see some answer. My classical car is available for your inspiration. Sandra,
I've seen so many great cars already. I want to have them all, but if only one.
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, Sonja, and also thanks again, Sunita, for both of your presentations. I saw a lot of great comments from people being, I'm just happy to see it and being very inspired. So yeah, great session, great talks. We don't have a date yet for the next Tableau user group for the Netherlands. Obviously, we would love to be able to meet you guys in person again, but it's unlikely that the next event somewhere early 2021 would be in person. So expect an update from us somewhere near the beginning of 2021. And if you're willing, if you're inspired to maybe present something like what Sonja and Sunita have shared today, please reach out to us. We're always looking for more speakers. We'd love to have people from the Netherlands community present and share their experiences and inspire others. So I guess with that, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for presenting, and we hope to see you again, at least in the next virtual event, if not somewhere in person next year.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.